Here we go. There we go. Hello and welcome to HMS Curriculum Night. My name is Jane Fetty and I will be your child's 8th grade science teacher this year. The best way for both you and your child to reach me is at jfetty@d181.org. Feel free to email anytime, but just know that I'm an early bird, so you're more likely to get a response from me at 5 a.m. than you are at 10 p.m. I've been teaching middle school for 20 years. I didn't know if I would get to this point. It's really exciting to hit 20. And I have some guiding thoughts. The first being that I want to know your child as a person first. I found that when I get to know them, the learning kind of naturally progresses from that. I want my classroom to be a caring, kind, and really genuine place of learning. What I'm going to be asking your child to do this year is going to be more challenging than they may be used to based on the content. We're going to look at chemistry and physics. We're also going to look at environmental issues. And some of those concepts can be a little more challenging, but the students, if they know they're cared about and they know this is a safe place, they're going to be much more willing to do the things that are being asked of them. Science also is a discipline of pursuit. Unlike math that has a right answer, science is approached from many different standpoints. And because of that, there is a sense of pursuit that has to naturally occur. And I want your students to get comfortable with that and know that through the process, they are gaining learning. It just might look different student to student. I also want science to be approachable and enjoyable. It always breaks my heart a little bit when I hear people say, especially adults, say that, oh, physics was so hard for me, or chemistry, oh, I hate chemistry. It was the worst class ever. I want science to be something that your student enjoys and wants to pursue, maybe not as a career, but they're willing to put themselves out there in high school and beyond and try that AP class or that physics class or something else later on where they maybe wouldn't have if they were turned off to science. And lastly, I'm really, really big into skills. I want the students to be prepared going forward, not just for high school, but beyond. And so there's some basic skills that we're going to develop and work on through the year. We are Spartans, and in the classroom it's important that we're going to be actively engaged, that the students are going to be responsible with their work, their learning, and their safety, and we're going to be empathetic. Middle school can be a really challenging time in a person's life, and it's good to take a step back, put yourself in someone else's shoes, and be a little patient and kind when working and interacting with one another. To help your child be successful, there are 3 things that they're really going to want to be aware of. The first is Google Classroom. I know that you are probably feeling like you're being hit over the head with Google Classroom, and normally things wouldn't be working the way they are, but because we have such a unique teaching experience this year, the learning experience is just as unique. And so with Google Classroom, almost everything I put out will come through Google Classroom, whether they are remote or on a hybrid plan. I kind of wanted to show you what it would look like. I do organize Google Classroom by week, and then if they're on the hybrid, I let them know, is this an asynchronous lesson or an in-person lesson? When they open up the day's activity, they will see a slide presentation that very clearly lays out everything that they should be doing, whether they're at home or we're at school. Now, when we're at school, I really am going to avoid being on the computer because nobody needs to be doing that all day long, but I want the resources there so that if they get home, they're like, oh, I need to take another look at this, or if for some reason they aren't able to be at school that day, I want them to have everything available to them. So there'll be an agenda. If it's asynchronous, you will see a teacher video made by me that gives specific directions, and then all of the links that they would need, whether it's an activity or a document, are live. Ooh, my lights just went out because I've been sitting. Just a minute, let me move a little bit. There we go. Wouldn't be a film if there wasn't a blooper. So that's what they should be seeing on Google Classroom. If they're remote, I'm going to see them every day, but I'm still going to push out their lessons daily through Google Classroom. They'll have an agenda, they'll have a slideshow, it'll look fairly similar. The other item is Skyward. It really is your best tool to see if things are missing. My habit is I get an assignment and I check to see that I have everybody's, and if I don't have yours, I put it in as a 0 and missing. The reason I do a 0 is to show that there will be, it does affect your grade. And so a lot of times when the kids see that 0, it kind of like gets a little fire lit under them to get it done. So if it's a 0, they can turn it into me following the 8th grade expectations, and I'll regrade it and enter in a score. In terms of homework expectations, to be consistent, we want the homework at the beginning of the period. If it's a daily assignment, I will take it late. The score may drop by up to 50%. If it's turned in more than a day late, depending on the circumstances, it may not receive credit. And I have told the kids that I realize life happens and if there's something that's keeping them from doing their work other than I just don't want to do it, then they need to let me know and we can work something out. But it's most important that I get it as soon as possible so that they can receive some credit. Then starting second semester, we really want to avoid late work as much as possible. The expectation in high school is, in many classes, no late work or maybe one assignment for the semester. So we want them to start getting in that habit. But again, Google Classroom and Skyward are your best tools as parents for knowing what your child is doing as well as if anything is missing. So our curriculum. In 8th grade, we have multiple things that we will be studying. We are starting with a 2-week review of energy and forces. We're actually going to come to the end of that this week. Then we're going to move into weather, climate, environmental factors, and human impacts on the earth. That's a fairly long unit. It's about 10 weeks long, and the kids will be doing multiple things, looking at, you can see down here, I have a wind turbine. We're going to see if we can build those at home. A lot of the engineering components will be occurring at home. I will say I do not expect you to be running out to Hobby Lobby and spending $50 on supplies. I really am encouraging the kids to look around your house. What do you have that you can use? Then we're going to move into physics a little bit more, but focusing on magnetic and electric forces. Then we'll move into kinetics and energy and the study of matter as it's heated and cooled. Then the rest of the year will be spent with chemistry. So about half the year is chemistry and chemistry-related topics. So we're going to look at the periodic table. We'll learn trends. We'll look at families of elements. You can see here I had a student make a story as a final project, the rare addition episode. She was looking at the rare earth metals, and that's what she based her project on. And then we are going to look at chemistry. And we'll see what we can do here in COVID. It makes me, again, it breaks my heart just a little bit that we can't do labs because that's what science is all about. But I'm definitely going to be doing demonstrations. There'll be videos. There'll be visual components to most lessons daily. And then we do have an engineering component as well that is a part of every unit. I have a little video here that I want to show you. Let's see if it'll play. The students actually design and construct hot air balloons from tissue paper, glue, and a little bit of construction paper. And the goal was to have your balloon go to the ceiling in the atrium, so 3 stories. And we did have some successes last year, so it was really exciting to watch the students go through the engineering process where they had to determine, did I have a good design? Did I construct it well? Let's do a trial and see how it does. Oh my gosh, it didn't even make it off the launch pad. We need to redesign this and reconstruct it. So there is an engineering component in every unit. And again, if you have any questions or your child does, please feel free to email me, jfetty@d181.org. And I hope you have a good night. And just to give you a little sense for who I am, these are some of the things that bring me joy. Family, my husband, a slice of pie, my bicycle, my beast Lincoln over here, and lots of nieces and nephews. So I hope you have a good evening. And again, if you have any questions, I encourage you to reach out to me directly. Thank you so much, and good night.